Let me guess, you from the town that I love best. Talk Memphis, I wish you would. Talk Memphis, you sound so good.
Before we went to break, we talked about the zip code showdown or zip code breakdown standoff. That's what we called it. We were talking about
opinions.
38118 and 38116 we covered. 38109 is, we're just going to keep going west.
Mm-hmm.
So we started at 38118, 116. Now we're over at 109. This is one of the zip codes that I could grade it an F and I could grade it an A.
Yeah.
And the F is west of 3rd.
Let's say third's for whatever reason, the third's the tiebreaker.
That's the grade scale right there. Is 3rd or Highway 61, however you want to call it, same street. If you go west of it, you get closer to the river, and for whatever reason, the quality of the homes goes down. Less brick, more siding, hardy plank or hardy board or whatever you see over there. The tenant pool drastically goes down for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a rundown from 106 down. If that, I don't. It's hard to label, or it's hard to say why.
Well, there's nothing going on down there.
No growth.
There's no growth. There's no activity. There's no business. There's no jobs. It's just a bunch of houses built. A pocket that was built years and years ago that, it's a little bit hard to get to. It's hard, there. So it's just people that have lived there all their lives, and, versus for whatever reason, 3rd. I mean, I always tell people a couple blocks to the west of 3rd.
I think you're okay.
You're okay, but try to stop there if you're going to invest. And then going east of 3rd, it just gets better and better as it tails into 38116.
That's right. So, if you're an investor out there listening and you hear of a certain zip code and you hear a good thing and a bad thing about it, you might be getting accurate information, but it's how our zip codes run sometimes. It can go really good and really bad. So 38109 has its ups and downs. 38128, this is north. Let's move north a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll do 38128 and 38127.
It's one of our top zip codes we manage in.
128.
Yeah. Hundreds of houses.
You can get a $30,000 home there,
yep,
and an $80,000 home.
Yeah, the spread is really high there.
So you have to be careful on where you're paying for that $80,000 home if that's what you choose to do. And I think this is where some of the turnkey providers have been able to capitalize on
that 3-2 brick.
That 3-2 brick that could maybe be sold for 50 and could also be sold for 85.
Yeah.
So I caution all investors when you go into these zip codes where you have, is this the largest zip code?
No, I think 38111
is. Okay. So it's still a big area.
That's right.
So I like it. I do like it.
Yeah.
It's one that if someone asked me, would you buy there? Yeah, the answer is yes. I'd be careful on exact streets because I think you can get into some rough areas, but then you can get into that. And I can't remember that neighborhood that's established. It was a residential.
I mean, anything around Austin P, Highway 14 is great.
Mm-hmm.
You get off Fraser Boulevard going towards Fraser. There's some pockets there that, every time I own probably, 10 in one subdivision, Douglas and I do, and you want to pull the water heaters.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. Like, you want to pull the whole house because if you don't,
you're pulling the doorknobs off.
Come on in. There's nothing in here. Take a look around.
Put it all in when you move in.
Literally. We've had to do that with ACs, and
yeah.
It's for whatever reason they just got this pocket that it's tough, and so I'm trying to get out of there.
Are you?
Yeah.
The whole zip code?
No, just that
one area.
Yeah.
So there's a Nike plant up there that's probably 300,000 square feet. I don't know how many jobs it is, but it's a ton. They keep adding on to it.
Yep.
So there is unlike what we mentioned in 38109 that's west of 3rd, Raleigh 38128, I think is thriving. I think there's businesses up there.
Scenic Hills, is that what you're trying to...
Scenic Hills is what I was thinking of. That little area is fantastic.
It's a great area.
Yeah. There's people that live there for 50 years.
And then there's Northwood Hills.
That's also good.
Is that off of Egypt Central?
Egypt Central.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've owned and managed.
Yeah. That's good though. I think this is what, investors want to hear us say. I think they want, if you could have this kind of inside information without somebody trying to quote sell you something, I think it's extremely valuable. So we're going to stick with this. But
yeah, and I think just one of our running buddies challenged us this morning and said, "What did y'all ever do with y'all's data?" Got all this data about all these zip codes in our software, and we're like, well, we got a coder we just hired, and hopefully we'll be able to tell you by zip code what the lease rate is, what the eviction rate is, what the occupancy percentage or average length of stay. I want to give data instead of just, it's a pretty good opinion.
That's
right. Pretty good zip code,
Yeah.
Versus be able to say, well, 38128 has an average stay of, or in this, I really want to get to map code specific within a zip code. That's kind of what we're talking about here.
We are.
When we're talking about
it's hard to explain that.
Explain a map code.
Okay, so in our MLS system, as an agent, in our MLS system, they'll go in a zip code and they'll give you, for example, 754. All right, they'll number it.
Yeah.
And then in 754, you can have A, B, C, and D. Some of them have E, F, and they keep going. But for sure, 4. And then you can have 3 or 4 numbers inside the zip code. So not only, and this gets the more and more complicated. We talk about more and more. But not only are we zip code specific and sometimes street by street specific, but we can get numbered and then lettered areas. 754B, I think that's Raleigh. 755A. I mean that you can get and break it down even further.
And that's where we want to take the data to.
That's right.
Like so that when we have a call and said about this subdivision, it's not just us telling you, well, we've had a lot of vandalism or I hate words like we just want to be specific, like a lot or many or few. We want to say, no, it's got this percentage or number of months or whatever that, average rent in this map code. Like I was going back and forth with the guy the other day with houses near University of Memphis, right on the edge. I don't know if you ever analyzed some rents in those areas.
Right on the edge of Memphis?
Yeah, and so he's like, well, you were $200 low on what I want. And I was like, dude, I said, here's your link of all the comps in the area. It's all over the board for a 3.2.
Just on Southern?
Off of Southern, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah,
it's so wide, and you can get what he wanted. I said, surely we probably can, but I'm just telling you what, within 2 or 3 blocks, this is what the average is. So
how much patience do you have?
How much patience you want to sit. So anyway, hopefully.
Me, it's not any. I want it rented.
Want to rent it, yeah.
I'm not going to hold up for $50.
Well, I looked at what he paid for him, and I understand why.
Right.
Like he wanted that number. So.
That's right. So 38128, lots of good things going on in there. I just say, proceed with caution, consult your agent or, whoever you work with here, your boots on the ground. But, so 38128 can be some good. Let's go west of 38128 and to a very popular zip code, 38127. Fraser, people call it.
Yep. Turnkey providers are back.
They're back in Fraser, aren't they?
That's right.
I love your number here. They have fixed 20% of the homes in Fraser.
At least. I mean, I have one friend that's fixed 10% of them. And
so you got to think.
So just kind of, it's back of the envelope numbers. I feel like turnkey providers have probably fixed up at least 20% of
which is remarkable.
Of that zip code. So I think there's 13-ish thousand. I wish we had Wendy here. She'd rattle that off. But I think there's 13,000 houses. So you're talking about 2,600 of them have been fixed up nice. But then you got Steve Lockwood with the Fraser Community Development Corporation, Fraser CDC. He's fixed up hundreds and rented them out and kept, trying to get those guys to home ownership. That's one of his goals. So that's, to me, those are some of the good things. There's still some good people up there that care about that area, that want to be. What's crazy is like how beautiful that area. That's the other thing that to me is often overlooked. That's the one place in Memphis has rolling hills.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I mean? Like back in the 50s,
trees.
That was a great subdivision to go live in.
That's right.
One of the premier areas. You go there, you go south, and it's just over the years just aged and gone. And
it flipped over. The economy crashed, and so that's the good. I mean,
North Haven is the bad. I'm just telling you. I don't. You go up northwest in 38127. The further away you get from the city, and the further away you go up northwest.
Well, it's just like the west.
The more challenging it is.
It's like the 38109 west, way closer west section, close to the river. I guess it's kind of same here, but that's one lesson I learned just in that zip code that is very humbling to me. It didn't matter how cheap you buy a house. you can still lose money.
Tell that. I love that because I get in this conversation with national investors sometimes, and they're like, "Well, why would I not want to buy a $25,000 house that rents for $600?" I'm like, just pump the brakes because I'm telling you can.
Oh yeah, I mean, I helped a bank. Douglas and I helped a bank out, several years ago. They probably bought 4 to 6 up there. Probably 6
in North Haven
at $15,000 a piece.
And you thought,
100% financed.
Can't lose.
So if you do that number, you like $600 rent times 12, $7,200
for
36. I mean, you're like double digits times 2,
20 plus
return on paper.
Yep.
And that's when I learned. I tried everything. Window units, hard floors, but just the turnover was killing us.
The maintenance, the turnover, the tenant pool. And I don't.
Yeah, there's just no jobs. I mean, again, it's related to there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Of positive nature to the stores or manufacturing or service business, whatever it is that would drive people that want to live close to that area.
Mm-hmm.
There's just nothing up there. And again, it's right beside some beautiful, beautiful Shelby Forest is right behind it. We got our dog, a couple years ago, right behind North Haven to a lady that was awesome, that was a breeder. Yeah. So there's some awesome people up there. Not saying. So make sure we don't say that when we're telling our listeners.
There's a lot of investors that have success up there.
Yeah.
You just need to be. That's one of the zip codes you've got to be extremely careful in and around. But yes, 38127. It's our most popular. It's the highest transactions of investment properties. 3127 is. Mm-hmm. According to Wendy Greenlaw at Chandler Report. She's telling us that 38127 has the most transactions. So there's obviously something good going on there. Just be real careful where you go because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, mm-hmm. You've got more experience up there than I do, but it's either going to go really, really, really good for you or it's going to go really bad. There's not a ton of in between. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been up there since 2001. So not North Haven.
Yeah.
127. I've been up in 127 since 2001. October, to be exact.
Boy, that must stick in your
mind. Stick in my mind because there was a fire that month.
Yeah,
we talked about that. Big fire.
That's right. All right, let's move down a little bit into the central part of the city, into 38111.
Yep.
This is, to me, the most fascinating zip code we have in the city. And the reason why is because you can buy a $15,000 shotgun house.
Or $1 million.
Or $1 million home.
Yeah.
And
that's a difference of $985,000.
Yeah. You got your calculator out this morning, don't you?
Just did it real quick.
So, yes, you can literally buy the cigarette houses or the shotgun houses or however you want to call it for $15,000 that'll rent for $400.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go a few blocks in one direction in Central Gardens, and you can join the most prestigious country club in the city.
Yeah,
that you can't join. I mean, it's that difficult. It's that prestigious. It doesn't matter your money. It's got to be who you are.
Yeah,
and you can buy the $1 million homes in Chickasaw Gardens. It's the most, I guess, the first real luxury high end area in Memphis. I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some good and some bad with it. A lot of people mix 38114 and 38111 together. They're separate. The good part of it, large zip code in Memphis. You can get some solid rental. Sherwood Forest is a great 3811 little pocket of homes.
Yep.
Anything off a Park, in my opinion, that is
north
of Park and west of Highland, the east of Highland.
Mm-hmm.
Are you following me?
Yeah.
Which is close to the University of Memphis area.
Sure.
You can have some success in. The further you start going down Southern and Park, I think the more challenges you're going to have. Closer to the Liberty Bowl, which is our University of Memphis football stadium.
And that's where people get duped, by the way. Like when you do the Zillows or the Renometers or whatever.
Yeah.
You got a Central Garden area.
$250,000
that's renting for $2,000, and then you got something that's renting for $400. So the average, they're going to come up with like
so I can get $1,000
rent on this house off of Boston, right near the Liberty Bowl, and it's like, whoa, hold on a second.
Yeah,
and it's really that's where the algorithms of some of these guys' software that people use on an international level, they're inaccurate. So Midtown, this area, a couple areas like that skew the numbers, so it's hard to.
This is the area I would be the absolute most cautious in. You got any other zip codes that could go that way? From street to street, and this is it's hard to explain. I mean, we're kind of just going in circles with this, but it's hard to explain because you can go 2 or 3 streets in a row and you've got great rental properties, and then bam, all of a sudden.
Just stick close to University of Memphis.
It's a good rule of thumb.
The school, not the Liberty Bowl.
Right.
Like, that'd be a good way to say it. Like,
the school.
Go closer to the school is great. Go closer to the Liberty Bowl, starts tailing off.
You think this, you think this school would try to do something with that area?
Well, I mean, if you noticed around the school, I mean, there's a ton of apartment development and condos and those kind of things. So they're doing it but it's real centralized, their way right there at the university.
They've done a good job with Tiger Lane.
Yeah.
So on the back side of that, going over to North Parkway, they've done a little bit better job over there.
That's 104.
So if you get on the other side of it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you get on the other side of Liberty Bowl, that switches to 104. So that's Midtown then.
It goes to Midtown.
It's a whole different animal.
That's a whole. Yep.
All right, so 38114, which is right next to 38111. Certain streets still have some good pride of community and ownership. Hard to push rents, so it's $650 or below. You can't. You don't think you can get above $650 in 114?
I mean, I think it's probably some certain spots, but surprisingly, for me, that this was an aha for us of just that most of our rents in this area. We bought a portfolio several years ago that had a lot of houses in this area, and that's been our toughest. Besides North Haven, this area
114
has been our toughest. Tougher than Frazier. Yeah.
Guys, this is coming from an investor that has many, 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 many properties, and the experience is long. So this isn't an opinion. This is facts based.
Yeah, no,
this is
facts.
experience based.
This is our analysis of everything since 2011, since we had our software that we could analyze houses. And 114 was the biggest zip code that had the worst issues for us. Us personally, not... Doesn't say
somebody else might come on the show and be like, "Oh, it's killer.
It's killer. I love it." Yeah, I mean, this is just my opinion, based on my numbers or our numbers, and I think that.
Are y'all over 50 in that area?
At one point we were, for sure. But and the piece that's the hardest is the vandalism.
I see you wrote copper down here. Is there a big copper demand in 114?
I just every time I think about 114, I think about this one triplex we have over there that I had to replace the copper from the meter to the riser 3 times, and by the 3rd time I realized this is definition of insanity. So I put aluminum wire in that main, which you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, but they quit stealing that.
Well, and then we tied it to copper, what they call pigtail. It's a code. It's legal. It's just not ideal, and they stopped stealing it. That's the only way I could stop, because that wire is so thick. When it was copper, man. That was worth some
valuable.
Money. Go melt it and get some money.
Melt it and get money.
Yep.
I swear I can't get enough.